But it's right next door to my son, so it's totally worth it until I couldn't see him anymore. And definitely disagree with any explanation that I think that I might get, though I haven't gotten one, and I've asked. Obviously, it's my only child. I never thought I wanted to be a father, and that's part of why I'm recording this video right now as Cameron Adams. I go by Cam, but I was born here in Washington, raised on Whidbey Island for the past 20 years. I'm 28. Parents are still happily married, and we had a really good childhood. In fact, I just wrote a small, brief summation of my life events that I'm more or less proud of and glad that happened. And I wrote it in juxtaposition with everything that I'm not proud of. And so I revisited a hell that I wouldn't want my worst enemy to comprehend. But I did it because I want to have a voice for my son. Wanting to have a voice is one thing. But when you want to have a voice over something that is so profound, being a father's changed every aspect of my life. It's pre-music and post-music. Even things that I do all the time is a different perspective that I carry all the time, knowing that I'm a father now. Everything. Eating cereal, going to work, going to sleep, playing video games, driving up and down the island. I mean, everything is make sure I wear my seatbelt, make sure I don't take unnecessary risks. I mean, it's a factor because I believe fundamentally that music deserves his father. I want to play the role that I was born to play. And that's just be dad. Kids were something I never thought that I wanted. And on January 2nd, 2020, Mandy Beth Starrett's Foot came over to my house and sat on the edge of my bed and just sat there. And I proceeded to guess. I actually only made one guess. And then I pretended to guess two more things, hoping she would tell me. And then I asked her when she found out. And she said that morning. She didn't wait before she told me. I'll give her that. That was the day I can trace back to where my philosophy, my way of being, operating while approaching life, fundamentally changed. I haven't seen my son now in a week and a half. He's going to be 6 months old on the 2nd, technically, but he was born August 31st. Musical Ryan Adams. I hope. I'm really rethinking. I know he's my son, but I'm retracing back at least the last 6 months since he was born because I'm realizing I don't know who his mother is. And I think I know what she's capable of. But she told me she would never do that to me. I didn't deserve that. She said I wasn't like the other guys. They didn't deserve their children. That's what she told me. And she said, I do. I'm a good dad. And that was right before she went to California, saying she was having postpartum depression. She told me she was leaving in an hour, and I mean, I should go back. We met in recovery. I had 2 or 3 months sober, and she had just came into the hall that I considered my home group, and I couldn't take my eyes off her. I don't remember her looking at me once. I didn't even think she saw me. And then later that week, I went into a store, and she was working there, and she gave me her discount and said she was kind of new to the area and asked if I wanted to get together. And at the time, I was keeping to myself very much. I think I actually had 4 or 5 months sober. I was trying to attain and maintain a life of recovery again after going into inpatient in Olalla, Washington in 2018. And this time I wanted to do it differently, and I was real serious. Well, over the course of about a month, she was living in her mom's house, her 2 moms' house, with all of their adopted kids. And she was living in a little bedroom with her 2 kids. One was 15, one was 10, and her little wiener dog, and her six siblings that lived in the house with their 5 dogs and however many cats. And it was a madhouse. And when I realized that I wanted to continue pursuing this relationship for whatever reason, looking back, I can speculate it was for a whole bunch of reasons. I was lonely. I genuinely liked this woman, and I'd never been with anyone who had kids before. And that's a huge part that played a role in all of this, I believe. So 1 month later, she told me her mom was kicking her out of her house and that she had nowhere to go. And I told her, I believe I asked her first if she had friends or anything, and then she said no. And I told her she could come with me for a little bit, even though I was thinking it was too early and I was going to wait until, I remember saying, like the summer or something, at least May, June. And here it was, January maybe, or maybe it was December, January. It was in there of 2018. So we met in November 2018. And two weeks later, she said her mom wasn't going to let her both of her kids live at her house anymore. And so she had to they either had to live with her, or she was going to have to go be homeless, she said. Well, she didn't say homeless. She said go to a shelter. Obviously, I didn't let that happen. And that was a mistake, because I bit off way more than I was ready for. And it's not the only reason that I eventually relapsed, but it is a huge contributing factor. I didn't know myself well enough. I wasn't strong enough in recovery yet. I didn't have enough experience with a relationship with somebody who has dependence. There's a whole bunch of factors. I've spent a lot of time soul searching and critically writing and reading what's happened over the past year and a half, essentially. And I figured to record a video right now while I have this feeling that I've had the whole relationship, but it's really back and it's pronounced now. And it's an intuitive feeling that things are not good. She won't respond to me. Who knows? My 2 close friends have shared stories about sponsees that they have through the recovery program we're in. And their sponsees had partners, wives or partners that put them through the ringer and filed restraining orders for seemingly no reason, and were granted them and kept the kids away from them. And I never thought that I don't want to believe that Mandy would do that. granted, if I like to think that I'm pretty honest, and that includes when I'm doing things I shouldn't be doing. I can never keep doing them for long because I can't stand a guilty conscience. Fortunately, I don't have to worry about that today. I can look in the mirror and I know the checks and the balances. And there are some checks. But the balance has been clean for longer than music has been on this earth. And I will keep it that way. And I also believe that Mandy is a great person. She's really smart. She's independent. She's successful. She's a really hard worker. She's provided for her children. These are all positive assets that drew me to her. I will say, once I got to be with her and experience her relationship with her children, the only time we do anything together is if we were all doing something together. I mean, she wouldn't. I remember going with my dad or my mom on trips or just to the store and, anything. Go out, see a movie. We would go bowling. Let's go walk on the beach. Let's go do a hike or a family thing, whatever.